Hello, welcome back to another episode of Math with Haas. You're watching Precalculus Season 1, Episode 17, question mark? Exponent. We're looking at exponentials and logarithms. Again? So, you can notice that on our screen here, we don't have our graphing calculator. Instead, we have a page open from Google Sheets. Google Sheets is Google's version of Excel. It's free as long as you have a Gmail account, and it's pretty nice. It's a little bit lightweight in comparison of functionality over Excel, but you have all these awesome add-ons that you can do. So right there's the place to go to find your add-ons. What we're going to do is talk a little bit about programming in terms of spreadsheets and what we learned about exponentials and logarithms. So pretty much what we're going to do is learn how to do some math based on our topic of this season using Google Sheets. So let's see. Let's go ahead and start with how about our compound interest formula. So compound interest, right? We had this formula that the amount of money in your account after t years was the principal times 1 plus the rate over n, that quantity to the nt power. So what we want to do is think about this function as it's something similar to what we've seen before, in the sense that y equals, or f of x equals x squared. This is a function right here, but you only have one input, and then that gives you one output, your y value. In this case, what we want to think about is you have your p here, your principal amount. That is one of your inputs, so that's one of your independent variables. This r is another independent variable. This n, that's another independent variable, and then you have your t there as a fourth independent variable. So like when you have our function was y equals x squared, if you imagine the box, your x values go in, and out you get your y values, and this was our function. Now when we think about this one, compound interest, you have your function p 1 plus r over n and t, right? But now you got p, r, n, t. You have four values here being plugged in, and what you're getting out is the amount of money. So when it comes to our compound interest, we want to keep this in mind for programming. So like any program, we should label it correctly. So we're going to call this section compound interest. Now compound interest, we said, has to have four inputs, so I'm going to label this one p, r, n, and t. And then it's always good organization to find this right here, make a nice little border. So I'm going to make a bottom border. So there we go, we got a border. And then suppose we have this question where you want to know how much money is in your bank account, where principal was, say, $2,500, your interest rate was 3.1%, you're told it's compounded, how about monthly, so n is 12, and you want to find out after, how about 10 years. Alright, so we're going to plug all those numbers in now. So we have 2,500. Now remember, r, that 3.1% needs to be 0.031. And then compounded monthly is 12, and we've told 10 years. Alright, so now we have the numbers plugged in. how do we make our equation is the question. So we're going to label this A. So here's A. In fact, we should probably make another border. So we're going to do two borders. First, I'm going to make a left border that will block off all of our inputs from our output, and then I want to put a bottom border again. Alright. And now to access the equation editor in either Excel or Google Sheets, you want to hit the equal sign. So when I look at this equation of ours, we have principal. So I'm going to click on this cell here, A3. So there's our principal. It needs to be multiplied by. So if I hit shift and then the number 8, there is my multiplication sign, the asterisk. And then just looking at our equation, we have this quantity and parentheses. So I'm going to need parentheses. And it's 1 plus. Now notice I need r divided by n. So I'm going to take my r, make a slash. There's divide by. There's my n. I'm going to end the parentheses. Now, to make an exponent, I want to hit shift and then the number 6. So we get this little symbol right here. Now, our exponent here is n times t. So I'm going to make a parenthesis because I want n, then times t, and parenthesis. And then once we have everything done, we can hit enter, like so. So this tells me that if your principal is $2,500 with an interest rate 3.1% compounded monthly and over 10 years, you will make $3,000, $3,407 and looks like 20 cents. Now we have a problem here. We probably don't want all those decimals since we're dealing with money. So we can go to format, number, and that's freaked out on us. And let's see, we're gonna have to zoom out. There we go. So let's see, we got a bunch of predetermined number formats, right? We got this one, we got these ones with money. In fact, I think I'm going to do this one because it's currency. That looks nice. Alright, I'm going to readjust this now. So there we go. There's our money. Alright. Now, because of how we set this up, if I wanted to know, say instead of 2,500, say 5,000, I just type in 5,000, hit enter, automatically updates. If I want to figure out this compounded daily, we just change this 365, and there's a change. If you want to change your interest rate, say 10%, well 10% is 0.1, so just plug in 0.1, hit enter. And see how it automatically updates every time. So that's a very useful thing if you end up having to calculate your compound interest a lot. One thing I do like to do is what's called conditional formatting. So what I'm going to do is hit format. I selected my cell here, and I look right here, there's conditional formatting. So what I like to do, you can set all sorts of different conditions. And usually I just say if not empty, and then you got some default colors, or you could change format. How about yellow? So what this is doing now is like I can visually see even more clearly that these values, I can make a mental note, these are my inputs and this is the answer I'm looking for. It's just to help visually delineate what is inputs, what's outputs. In fact, with our border, we can adjust this, right? So we can change the color, we can make a deeper border, and let's fix that. So now we can see that much better. Our border, and we got our visual indicator as well. So that's just to help us visualize what's going on here. So this is compound interest. Now, if we think about continuously compound interest, we had a similar formula, right? We had P is equal to Oh, whoops, we didn't have P. We had A is equal to P e to the RT. So this is the continuously compound interest formula. So this is very similar, and in fact we can use these values right here if we just make a note that this cell is continuously compound. So here's my A. I guess we'll make another border here. So let's block that off. Let's make a border right here as well. Alright. And we'll go ahead and maybe make this a different color. So if we go Format, Conditional Formatting, let's see Custom Formats. Ooh, here we go. I don't think I want to go cyan. We'll go blue. Hit done. So hopefully this isn't a bad color. You don't want to pick a color that's like too bright or too dark so you can't see the text. So this one we have principal times. Then the question is how do we use Euler's number in spreadsheet? So to do that we got P times. Now if we do start typing, notice I just type a E. These are all built-in functions inside Google Sheets. And we want to use this one right here, EXP. So to note, EXP with a parenthesis, that is built into Google Sheets as E raised to a power, E to something. So the parenthesis is what goes inside the exponent. And inside the exponent we want R times T. So R times T. And then we close our parentheses and hit enter. And just what I was afraid of, that is too dark to look at, so we need to change our color format. So let's see our format, conditional formatting. Let's click here. Let's change our color. Let's pick, how about this nice light blue? Hit done. There we go. We can see that much better. And now I want to change the format into money. Format, number, I think we pick currency. So we'll pick currency again. So there we are. So now we have a Google Sheets here that will calculate compound interest and continuously compound interest. All you have to do is just change the number. So say you invest 20 bucks for 10 years. You end up with $54. Then. So that's one powerful application of using Google Sheets, right? And in fact, that's how this is what I use usually to make solutions. For example, this is what I did for the making this solutions to all the assignments for this series for our exponentials and logarithms. So you can see it's useful because I can just change numbers around and just put those numbers in and voila, I got new solutions. So it's a good skill to learn, especially if you plan on doing there's a lot of applications in college. I had one of my students just this year tell me how beneficial it was learning how to implement some of this stuff into Google Sheets. And this was in reference to calculus actually, and he actually was ahead in his physics class because he was able to do a bunch of stuff with Google Sheets. So this is going to conclude my first video. We'll do 2 more videos on implementing some Google Sheets with exponentials and logarithms. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and supporting us on Patreon. Thank you for joining our math party, and I will see you next time.